with the upper hand.
Welcome to this Moving Panels One Shot. Let's have a nerdy little conversation. And here we are in our animation month. And I said, you know what? There are so many good animated films, especially direct-to-video animated films. We know the big ones. Batman, Mask of the Phantasm, great. Dark Knight Returns, maybe direct-to-video, but we all know it. We love it. And then you got the big blockbusters like Into the Spider-Verse. I mean, yes. But the direct-to-video animated films are some of the, I would say, unsung heroes of comic book movies. Some of them, you might even say, are better than a lot of the live-action stuff that they put out there. And some of them might be things that you do not know of. And even though we try to talk about as much as we can here, I thought that for this year, for animation, that we would just talk about some of our favorite animated direct-to-video comic book-based films. And joining me in that conversation is my co-host, the dapper Southern gent. It's Blake Fowler.
I feel animated by that introduction, Laramy. Like, I'm ready to go.
Thank you.
And chat about some probably well-known ones, if we're going to be fair, but then a couple of lesser-known entries into the world of straight-to video or DVD or now Blu-ray animated movies.
Yeah, streaming.
Yeah, couple of HD DVDs in there.
Yeah, I will go ahead and I will go ahead and say this. I discovered right before we started recording that my list is entirely composed of DC animated movies.
Yeah, again, 4 out of the 5 of mine. Yes, same.
Yeah.
So it just is what it is, people.
I mean, I'm going to go ahead and say it. DC does animated better than Marvel.
They do. It's just a fact.
Yeah.
This is science.
Not that there's not some good Marvel ones out there. I did, for a moment, think about adding Hulk Versus to my list.
Okay.
I do enjoy Hulk Versus. So that was one I thought about adding to my list. But
I'm gonna put like Planet Hulk on there.
Planet Hulk is good.
It's good.
Yeah.
I like Planet Hulk.
Planet Hulk is good. So there are some good ones out there, but I like Blake said, I didn't want to come up with ones that were necessarily all known. I wanted to try to find some that, were maybe some hidden gems in the mix. And so hopefully I did that. And but we both came up with a list of 5, and so we'll kind of knock those out. I'll go ahead and mention mine first. My number 1, and this is my number 1. Like I do think if you were to ask me to rate my favorite direct-to-video animated movies, this would probably be number 1.
Hold on, stop.
Go ahead.
Is it Superman related?
Superman is in it, yes.
Okay, Superman's in it, but it's not Superman himself.
No.
Okay, it's a team movie then.
It is.
Is it a multiple person team movie?
It absolutely is.
Is it The New Frontier?
It 100% is.
Okay, all right, good call, man. All right, good.
Yep, that's my first one. Justice League: The New Frontier, based on the Darwin Cook graphic novel. So good. Good. I mean, it's a love letter to the classic comics, golden and silver age of comic books.
You may have just like taken, because I didn't have it on my list because I thought to myself, Laramy's going to put this on his list. And so as a way to cheat the system, I now have 6 entries because The New Frontier would also be one of my favorites. It's so well done. It's in the vein, not only the emotions, the plot line, but the look of the movie itself is Darwin Cook.
That is my very next thing on my notes here is the animation style perfectly mirrors Darwin Cook's distinct retro artwork.
I don't know that I've ever seen that in another comic book animated adaptation quite like they did it with The New Frontier.
Yeah, it's real good. Yeah, and the emotional weight that is in this story. And the fact that even though, we were talking about Superman, this story doesn't focus on the Trinity.
Right.
It doesn't focus on Superman, Batman, Wonder Woman. Even though they are main characters, there is a story with them.
Yep.
This mainly focuses on the Flash, Green Lantern, Hal Jordan, and John, Martian Manhunter.
Yeah.
Like, they're the focus. And I put it on the list, even though I do think it's known. I don't think it gets enough. Like, I think it's overlooked.
Not appreciated the way it should be, perhaps.
Because it's honestly not action-packed.
No. It's
Like,
very
there's not a lot
story
of action
driven,
in it.
very
Yeah.
narrative driven. Yes.
Oh yeah, no, storytelling, character development
Yeah.
is what the main focus. It beautifully captures that. Yeah, so if you have not seen that, that is my first one, Justice League New Frontier. I can't wait to cover it one day on the show. But yeah, that's my first one. What you got, Blake?
So if I'm gonna go like number one, I'm also again I'm gonna cheat the system again. So I'm gonna get 7 movies out of this, Larry, because my number one is Batman: The Dark Knight Returns, Part 1 and 2.
Okay.
I really I enjoyed the graphic novel, the comics when they came out.
Yeah.
Reading those, obviously I didn't read them when they
Frank
first
Miller,
happened.
great,
But the Frank Miller story, and just the brutality of some of the scenes in that are fantastic, are ripped straight off of a comic book page.
Oh yeah.
And it stays pretty true, almost panel by panel, pretty much to the comic book, including the mud pit scene there with the mutant leader. Yeah, this is an operating table.
The operating table line.
Yeah, that's a great line. That's an all-timer.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. And
back when I started this podcast, I tried to go to YouTube and try to create a couple of videos. I think I created one, and it was about the best Batman quotes.
Yeah,
and that was on that list.
That's got to be up there. Yeah. So no, Batman: Dark Knight Returns parts 1 and 2. I think they've compiled it into one movie now.
They have. Purchase. I own it. Yep.
But I have the first and second parts separated just because it's a Batman thing, and I need to have that. So there's my number one. It was a tough call for a first, but that's number one for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I will say the rest of my list, I don't know if I necessarily put them in any type of ranking order.
Yeah, no, we'll bounce around, but that one kind of sits above some others for me.
But I wanted to think of one that I thought was kind of a hidden gem, one that people may not have known about. We've actually covered it on this show. James Brooks and I discussed this one about a year or two ago, and that is Green Lantern Emerald Knights.
Emerald Knights, yeah.
Yeah. Yes, you've got Green Lantern First Flight, but Emerald Knights, to me, a hidden gem because it's an anthology story. You don't have just the single storyline. There's multiple stories. You kind of get a dip into kind of the history of the Green Lantern Corps. And it's not just focused on, Hal Jordan, even though he's the thing that ties it all together. He's the
run through for that. Yeah.
Yeah. We get the story of Kilowog. We get the origin of Mogo, which is brilliant.
That's a fun one.
Love it. Just all these great stories. And I think it does an excellent job of, once again, building on characters and letting each character feel distinct. There's that story about the original Green Lantern. That is just a wonderful story. But yeah, I think if you have any interest in Green Lantern, whether I don't care if it's John Stewart,
even if you
Kyle
don't,
Rayner,
it's still just
Jessica
great,
Cruz. Yeah. Just any, and especially with the Lanterns TV show on its way.
Just that one photo they've released so far has me ready. Like, I'm actually excited for that one.
Yeah. So yeah, definitely go see that. It 100% beats anything else Green Lantern that has ever been released.
It's not the highest bar, to be fair. That is not very high standards.
Look, the Green Lantern animated series was pretty good.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah. So, but Emerald Knights is top of the list of Green Lantern animated stuff. So I wanted to put that as my first kind of hidden gem.
It's really good. I think they tried to, I can't remember which came first, but they tried to do Batman Gotham Knight, which is kind of like an anthology. Yes. They tried to do the same thing. But
I wasn't as much of a
Emerald
fan of
Knights does it far better than Gotham Knight did. So there's that little offshoot.
It's been a minute since I've seen Gotham Knight. Did they intertwine those stories at all, or was it just...
There was a plot line, and Laramy, I'm going to be honest, I've seen it one time because I didn't care for it too much. There was some plot line that interwove. Yeah. I think it was these kids were telling different stories of nights they had seen Batman, and they all interpreted him differently.
Of what he's...
And then he shows up, the actual Batman shows up at the very end. And it was...
I remember that now.
Yeah, it was fine. It was okay.
Yeah, no, that...
Emerald Knights did it much better.
Yeah. I'm not gonna say don't see Gotham Knight, but it's not one of my favorites.
There are other things on this list that we're going to talk about you should see instead. For example, continuing with my theme here, some people perceive this iteration of Batman as a little campy, a little more childlike, a little more kitschy, but this particular direct to DVD animation, the Batman versus Dracula, is a fantastic forth putting of a Batman movie, and incorporating some horror aspect, which I really, really like, by bringing in Dracula. Again, it is probably more geared towards kids, but on Saturday morning with a bowl of Fruity Pebbles and marshmallows, aren't we all just big kids? And so that's one that's very reminiscent of almost Scooby-Doo-esque, with Batman fighting this mythological creature kind of being. So just a lot of fun. One that doesn't require too much thinking. Kind of just sit back, relax, and enjoy.
Yeah, that's one I have not seen in a while too. So yeah, I would think that's one that's
a little underrated. Yeah, maybe not viewed as often because of the style of the animation as well. It looks very much like it's geared towards kids.
Because The Batman, which is what this is based off of, was very, very more colorful.
Yep. They had that Joker that was very outlandish.
Had the long sleeves and the actual
the wild hair, like the actual jester hair. Yeah.
Yeah. No, and he even had like the elongated face.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I remember that. Yeah, it was a good show though. I will give it credit for that too. It wasn't animated series level, but
no, it was, and nothing is, Laramy. Let's be clear about that. Nothing is. And there were a couple of Batman the animated series movies I looked at. Obviously, Mask of the Phantasm.
Yeah, but that one came out in theaters, so that one
came out in theaters. Mr. Freeze Sub-Zero was
a good one.
Was a good one.
Like anything with Mr. Freeze from that series.
It's so good, man. I need Heart of Ice as a movie. I'm gonna be honest with you, like a live action. That's a different episode of this.
Oh yeah, come on, James Gunn, you hear us?
Yeah, please.
Yeah. All right. Okay, so for my next one, I had to think. There's got to be one Superman movie that I can put on here that is probably one that people aren't as familiar with, and this one I absolutely love. I think it's criminally underrated. It is based on a storyline called "What's So Funny About Truth, Justice, and the American Way." The title of the movie, however, is Superman versus the Elite.
Oh, okay. I'm not familiar.
Oh, my goodness. So if you're not familiar, there's a team of anti-heroes called the Elite. And they have no problem killing.
Okay.
In order to make the world, quote unquote, a better place.
Okay.
And so it starts off with Superman trying to reason with them. And try to what you're doing is wrong. I'm willing to kind of mentor you and help you and all that. But then you've got pretty much the world is on the side of the Elite. Like they're doing what you should be doing, Superman. Because all these villains you go after, they end up escaping again, and you have to go. Which they've done a lot. Batman.
Yeah, I'm very familiar with that trope.
And so they kind of treat Superman as he's outdated. These are the new hip heroes. And so what's so special about it is that how it directly addresses criticism of Superman, which is funny. You brought up Frank Miller's Dark Knight Returns,
because it's very critical of Superman.
Does that as well, yeah. But this one, instead of being he's too much of the Boy Scout, they're saying he's too old-fashioned. And then, I don't want to give away too much because I want you to be able to see it. But the way Superman has to combat that is just completely amazing. The animation in it isn't as polished as maybe some other stuff. I will admit that.
Do you know what year this was put forth?
2012.
2012, okay.
2012. Okay. But yeah, it is, to me, it is one of the most powerful, like, Superman portrayals that it's one of the best of, look, Superman knows what he's doing and you need to listen to him. Yeah. And the way they pull that off in this story is amazing. So
Superman versus
definitely
the
got to
Elite.
see Superman versus the Elite.
Check
definitely
that out.
Got to see that one. All right, what you got next?
Well, I will keep with your particular theme, and I'm going to talk about my Superman selection from the DC animated movies, which is Red Son. Now,
oh yeah,
again, it's dark. It is.
Yeah.
There are some things that happen in it, if you haven't seen it, that are dark. So a little bit of a trigger warning, I guess, for some folks. But just that Elseworld story of him obviously growing up in the Soviet Union and becoming a tool that the Soviet Union can implement to do their bidding. And then some of the interactions he has with our Trinity in that universe.
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to give too much away because it's one of those that if you haven't seen it, I highly recommend it, whether you are a Superman fan or not. It's just a good animated movie.
Yeah. Oh, no. Yeah, it is. Yeah, that's a great graphic novel.
It's a great
movie.
It's a Superman graphic novel that I have actually read. I don't do too much Superman, but that one so struck me. I even have like the Batman and Superman figures from that particular graphic novel animated through the little statuette of them. It's just, again, it's a great story, and it's a great what if story.
Yeah, and I don't think I even considered that one because I have it on such a high pedestal.
That
I'm
sure everybody.
It's not, to me, it's not a forgotten gem or hidden. I mean, it might be, but to me, it is not. Of course, neither is New Frontier to me.
I think for people like me who have oftentimes seen Superman as the Boy Scout, you see him as this like holier than thou character. A lot of people aren't willing to get into Superman because of that. But this particular story, if you are not into traditional Superman, this story is not traditional Superman. It will give you a taste of maybe what you're looking for of what would happen if Superman was not who he was.
Yeah, and my next one actually kind of plays off of you.
Let's hear it. Keep the ball rolling.
I went with an Elseworld style story. And that was Justice League Gods and Monsters.
Okay, I thought about including it because a lot of people don't like it, Laramy, but I enjoyed that.
Yeah, it's unique.
Yeah,
it's unique. It's like you said, it's a much darker version of the Justice League because you've got a different Superman.
Yeah,
I mean, it's not even Clark Kent.
Yep,
is Superman. It's the son of Zod.
Yep.
And then Batman's not Bruce Wayne. Nope. He's this scientist who's turned himself into an actual vampire. Yep. And then Wonder Woman is not an Amazonian. She's one of the new gods. Yep.
It's a cool take on the Trinity.
Yeah. You know, there's a lot of those stories in which they do stuff like that just for, like, I honestly think the Crime Syndicate stuff was done just to have the villain version of.
Sure.
You know, other stories have done it better. This did it better by making them all different. Injustice does it better, you know, by putting a twist on making the actual superheroes just a evil version of them. But this one, it's not the same characters. It's a different version of these characters and that are evil. But they're not even it's not Clark Kent. It's not Bruce Wayne. It's not Diana Prince. It's these other ones other people who have taken on those monikers. But it does explain why those versions of the characters exist. Honestly, makes you actually think a little bit more about the Justice League. And I think there's probably several of these we could go into, and we could have a whole conversation just about this dude. But Bruce Timm being the producer of this movie.
Yeah. I think that makes all the difference in the world for me.
Yeah. I mean, when he gets his hands on some of this stuff, it's just amazing what he can do. But yeah, this one, unlike New Frontier, loads of action.
Yep.
But then it also has kind of those, it really has kind of like moral dilemmas. And like I said, it builds this world of these other characters.
It does a good job of doing that pretty quickly too. Like you get into the story, but you still have a concept of what's going on, and it doesn't the quickness with which you get into the world doesn't detract from the movie.
No,
which is always important for something that's Elseworlds.
Yeah, I will say when it's over, you kind of wish they had made a sequel.
Yeah, there's a couple of plot points I could have done more with.
But yeah, I think there's a lot more story that could have been told. But yeah, so that's another kind of under the radar one for a lot of people, probably not familiar with it or need to give it a rewatch. But yeah, Justice League Gods and Monsters.
Okay. So here's where I'm torn between holding off the depressing animated film or whether or not I sandwich that between some good stuff. So I'm going to go with one that I'm sure most people don't know about or haven't heard of. It is a movie that is born out of a biographical graphic novel. It did, I might be cheating the system here again. It did play at a film festival, shown once, but then went straight to DVD. Yeah. The title of it is Persepolis. And it's about a young girl who grows up during the Islamic Revolution in Iran. It deals with themes of family, addiction, sexuality, like this coming of age story for this young girl who is rebelling against this takeover of her home. You know, she refuses to wear a hijab. She wears Western clothing. She buys rock music on the black market to listen to. It is a as pertinent a tale now as it was in like 2007. I think it's when the film came out. I think the graphic novel was 2000.
I can't remember. Bethany and I covered it back in November.
Okay, okay. I couldn't remember if we've talked about that on the show or not. But it's one that I think more people should know about and read about, and see the animated movie.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. Because it was even back when Bethany and I talked about it back in November.
I say, and now I'm gonna have to go back. Clearly, I've missed that episode. Now I need to go back and find where this episode is.
Well, we even did a one-shot talking about others that, although have not been turned into movies like Persepolis had, you know, we went back and talked about other graphic novels that tell great personal stories. Yeah. Like March.
Yep.
And They Called Us Enemy.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so we went back and we even just talked about some other graphic novels that are just as powerful. But yeah, Persepolis actually getting turned into an animated, which the exact same animation as the comic.
True. Yep. Kind of Darwin Cook-esque kind of turn there they did, but I think it's not just a good movie. It's important because it portrays people and places and things that don't always get the spotlight, and I think it's important that representation occurs in animated movies. You know, we tend to think of animated films, we've said it before, as kids stuff, but a lot of times there are adult themes that get covered, and the whole breadth of humanity should be shown and represented in that coverage.
Yeah. Just to mention this, another one that I really wish they would turn into an animated movie, Mouse.
Oh, okay. Great graphic novel.
Yeah.
Used to use that when I was teaching social studies. Like we would use that to talk about that particular time period. If you don't know what Mouse is, I don't want to give away the time period, but like.
Well, as soon as you see the cover to Mouse, you know what the time period
is.
But
like, I don't want to give away too much.
Because you see the swastika.
It's one of those things that I want people to experience for themselves. But yes, it does. It takes a very serious subject and maintains the seriousness of it, but puts it in a different light to make it more digestible, perhaps, for different audiences.
Yeah. Which is funny. I'll talk about this. Blake and I were talking right before we started recording. Another one that is similar, but it wasn't a comic book, is Watership Down. Yeah. So even though not a comic book, you've got some great novels that do what Mouse does in graphic novel form. You've got some animated. You got the animated movie Watership Down based off of the novel. But you even want to go novels again with that same mindset, Animal Farm.
Oh, okay. So look, I'm going to peek behind the curtain here. Laramy and I recorded half an hour of us talking about the most depressing things imaginable before we started recording. We discussed Watership Down. We discussed Where the Wind Blows, which if you have not read, or When the Wind Blows, When the Wind Blows. If you have not seen or read that, we've discussed that before here.
Bethany and I also have covered that on the show.
We talked about Gene Hackman. Like we had a really rough. We got all this out of the way for you before we started recording, so you're welcome to all the listeners out there.
But let's go ahead. Both you and I agreed that an honorable mention does go to
When the Wind Blows.
When the Wind Blows.
Oh,
yeah,
it is a sad honorable mention.
Yeah, this is it'll be a one view and you're done.
I think we agreed on that as well. Like we both have watched this movie and will never watch it again.
Yeah. No, I own it, and I own the graphic novel and the movie. I will probably never pick either one of them up ever again.
If you want to watch it, if you feel like wasting an entire day in your feelings after you see it, it's on Tubi, I think, maybe still.
Yeah, I think it is.
Yeah. It's rough. You said it earlier. It's very positive until it's not.
Yeah. But it still kind of is, though. Like, the characters are just so positive throughout the entire thing.
They are, Laramy. They shouldn't be. They really shouldn't be.
Yeah. But, again, you can go back and listen to that episode as well of Bethany and I discussing it because, same thing. I mean, it's a story.
Okay. All right.
It's a story. All right.
Is it? Are you on your last one here? I've forgotten where we are now. Okay, I've forgotten where we are.
On number 5 here, I do want to throw in. I actually did jot down a couple of honorable mentions on my side too. I didn't talk about these in great depth because it has been a long time since I've seen them. So I'm like, I can't really give these a great endorsement because I would need to rewatch to really think about it. But there were 2 animated Hellboy movies that came out right after the first movie.
Okay.
And I remember them being really, really good. Is
that rose-colored glasses, you think? Or are you scared to go back and watch that?
I'm hoping not. I'm really, really hoping not. But and I do believe Ron Perlman still voices Hellboy in both of them. So that one popped up because right as we were planning for this, I noticed that The Crooked Man is now on Hulu.
It's on my watch list, and I'm terrified to actually view it though for how bad it's supposed to be.
Of course, we covered the 2016 Hellboy, not
David
that long
Harbour,
ago. And so, and I think during that episode, I revealed that I have not seen Crooked Man. So that just popped into my head. But here is my last one on my list. I wanted to go with something that was a very faithful adaptation. Because a lot of people complain about how, especially live action movies, are so different from the comics and whatnot. So I wanted to give one, and that is Teen Titans: The Judas Contract.
Okay, that's not a bad call there for your final entry.
Yeah, I mean it's
a pretty fun watch.
Yeah, and if you're not aware, the Judas Contract is probably the most famous Teen Titans story.
Yep.
In comics. Of course, those of you who were familiar with the Teen Titans animated series, you know about Tara, and you know how she betrays the team. And so you get this story, and you might recognize that, but this movie goes so much deeper into her relationship with both the Titans and Deathstroke. And the fact that, this is a running theme with a lot of mine. The fact that it can balance the superhero action with the emotional stakes of the story. Because it's not just about Tara's betrayal. It's about trust, manipulation. It's about what it means to be a family. Which, is a big part of Teen Titans and even the world that Robin comes from. Because, they are called the Bat Family.
Yep.
But yeah, and as much as they had to, especially now with Teen Titans Go, they're watering down the Teen Titans. The fact that you can't call them Deathstroke, you just have to call them Slade. All that. This movie, Deathstroke, is as menacing.
He's a bad dude.
Yeah, as probably he's ever been portrayed. And I liked him in the Teen Titans animated series, but in this movie,
it's a different breed, kind of. Yeah.
So yeah. So this is one that, again, I don't think it gets mentioned as a top tier DC animated film, but if you are a fan of Teen Titans, I strongly recommend that this is a must watch. And so again, I put it in my hidden gem category, and that's why I wanted to bring it up. So that was my last one. What you got, Blake?
Okay. Well, before I get to my last one, I did want to give a shout out to a couple that you should never watch. Batman Year One, terrible, absolute garbage. Ben McKenzie is the voice of Batman, not super. And Batman.
So is he better as the voice of Batman or as Gordon?
Don't you talk about it, Larry. Neither one. Neither one. I hope the earth opens up and swallows both iterations whole. And then Batman Hush, which was terrible. The animated movie was not good. There were some plot lines in that I was like, why are we doing this? What is the point?
Yeah, when it completely goes off rails.
Yeah.
Like, I just got finished talking about one of the more faithful adaptations.
Yep. That was not good. So stay away from those. But for my final one, some fun, enjoyable, Lovecraftian cosmic horror. Batman Gotham by Gaslight is.
Okay, Gotham by Gaslight. I thought you were gonna go the Doom.
No.
Whatever that. Yeah.
The Doom that came to Gotham. No, Gotham by
whatever the title is.
Gotham by Gaslight's got some Lovecraftian aspects as far as like the vibe and the time period, but it does deal with Jack the Ripper. If you're into that, it's a great Elseworlds tale. It's got a little bit of that cosmic aspect in as far as like the supernatural. Is Jack the Ripper a person? Is it this entity? And it's just a great, he traverses the ocean to come to Gotham. It's a great story. It's just a fun story. And not the Jack the Ripper wasn't fun, but the story itself. Yeah.
That's a good one. That was one that I actually, it didn't run through my head, and it's one that I haven't seen in a while. I need to go back to it. But look, you talking about good versus bad, like Batman animated movies. Just real quick, what's your take on Batman Ninja?
It's not for me, Larry.
Okay. I respect that.
I am not an anime person, first of all. I don't like that animation style. And so I didn't care for that, and I just didn't care for the story. While I enjoy some of my Batman storylines to be fun and to be sci-fi-ish, time travel has never really been one that I cared for very much. Which if you haven't seen Batman Ninja, he like goes back in time to the time of the samurai, and basically goes full Ninja Turtles. 2, I think it was, and when they go
3,
is that 3? Okay, all right.
No, look, there's been some bad Superman ones. I mean, I've infamously talked about on this show that Superman Doomsday, which was the first ever DC animated
back in 2007, right? Yeah,
that's still bad.
Have there been any Swamp Thing ones other than like the one Justice League Dark animated movie?
No, I think that's been it.
So my question though is, like, we've got all these great characters, but like, why is Swamp Thing not cropping up more in these DC animated films? I mean, you got Justice League Dark, and you and I have discussed Batman and Harley Quinn.
He's got a part in,
which is a small part, and that's fine. I'm more referring to, why is he not getting his own show, his own movie?
Yeah.
You could really lean into that as far as animation goes.
You could, but I mean, I still am mad at DC for canceling the live action show from a few years ago.
We have talked about on and off camera, that should not have stopped.
No, James Gunn, that's another, you need to bring that back. I mean, look, Disney has realized the error of their ways, and they're bringing back the Netflix Defenders. So let's James Gunn, you do the same thing. Bring back that darker, grittier.
Oh, I wish.
Bring back that Swamp Thing. Because we can definitely use that. But yeah, that's a
good list.
Yeah, and again, we got some that you may have heard of. We got some hidden gems, but all together, I think that the direct-to-video movies or the unsung heroes sometimes of comic book movies. You know, I don't think animated gets the love that it deserves as much as live action does. But I agree with what Blake said. You can do so much more with animation.
Yeah. It's a limitless world almost. So yeah, even if you have seen some of these, go back and rewatch them.
Oh, absolutely. Like you said, I'm going to go back and watch Gotham by Gaslight. I'll probably go back and watch those Hellboy movies that I was talking about.
Get a little Crooked Man appetizer there before you.
There you go. Yeah. But yeah, I mean, there's so many. There's so many more I could have talked about. Superman Unbound is one of my favorite. Justice League Doom, I think is great. So yeah, there's some great ones out there. You don't always need a theatrical release to be a great movie.
Agreed.
You know, there's probably even some live action stuff that we could find that fit under that. But let us know what you think. You know, reach out to us in social media. Did we miss anything that you think is one of your favorite unsung heroes of the animated movies? We, again, didn't talk a lot about Marvel stuff, so give us some Marvel stuff if you will. But yeah, let us know on social media. Again, continue following us with the show as we dive deeper into some of these when we give them full episodes. But don't miss any of that. But thank you, Blake, for joining me on this conversation in our to kind of wrap up our animation month here on Moving Panels.
Happy to have done it, Laramy. Can't wait for next animation.
All right. And wasn't it you that actually helped me come up with that title? I just want to give you credit for
I'm not going to take any credit for anything, Laramy. This is your show. All the credit goes to the host. I'm
sure I'm not the only one who's ever done that. I'm sure there's other people out there who use May as their animation discussion.
You mean I didn't come up with something original?
Probably not.
Okay. Well, don't tell my mom.
Even though I haven't found proof of it, I'm pretty sure I'm not the first person to come up with calling a show about comic book movies Moving Panels.
According to my diary, you are. So that's all that matters.
According to my research before I started this podcast, I am, but we'll see. All right. Well, thanks, everybody. Rate and review the show. But for today, for Moving Panels, I'm Laramy Wells, and I'll see you on the other side of the page.
From print to screen, the legends stand. Comic kings with the upper hand.
This summer on Moving Panels, we're diving headfirst into the twisted, thrilling, and totally unpredictable world of Mark Millar. He's the mind behind some of the most intense, outrageous, and surprisingly heartfelt comics of the 21st century, and we're covering it all. We're breaking down the brutal, bullet-riddled chaos of Wanted. We're tackling the dark superhero dynasty of Jupiter's Legacy. We're getting our red mist on with Kick-Ass and Kick-Ass 2, but we're not stopping there. This summer series isn't just about the adaptations. We're unpacking Millar's impact on comics and Hollywood, his controversial use of violence, the satire hidden in the bloodshed, and the political and social commentary that runs beneath the mayhem. And once it's all said and done, we're going to crown the best of the Mark Millar adaptations. Which one reigns supreme? Which one missed the mark? You'll have to tune in to find out. So subscribe now wherever you get your podcasts, and don't miss a single episode of our Mark Millar summer series right here on Moving Panels.